Hello, everyone. I think we are live. I am just checking. Yes, here we go. We're live and ready to rock and roll. So, the first match is done. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. Get straight in there. Tell me what you think about the performance. I'm going to get into what I think about it. Obviously, positive. We have won the game. I think in spells in the game, we absolutely looked, I'm not going to say amazing, but we definitely looked better than we did last season in some moments of this game. And I know it's not a very enthusiastic start there because we have won it, but we are top of the league. Will we stay there beyond today and be there at any other point in the season? I doubt it on that performance, but there is small stepping stones to be taken from that game, I think. But what I want to just start on is the debuts. So Maswauri, I think, looked really good at right back. I think he was one of the standout players yesterday. He's literally only just signed for us, coming to the team. He looked steady. He looked casual. He looked committed. I can't complain with Maswauri. Obviously, we need to see him going forward, see if he can continue to perform like that throughout the season. But I've got no complaints with Maswauri at the minute. And obviously Xerxes, everyone desperate to see him come on the pitch, desperate to see him get minutes. He finally got, 25 minutes, half an hour. He's got a goal. He didn't do a lot else in the game, I don't think, but he scored the winner, and I guess that's what he's on the pitch for as a striker. He's actually a lot bigger than I thought he was looking at him. Like, he seems to be a unit. I don't know a lot about him. We'll have to see what he's like going forward. He seems like the kind of player that's kind of like to drop in the hole and pick the ball up a bit more than, say, Erasmus does. So we'll have to see with him what it's like and how he performs. Then obviously Dillick, come on, he didn't get a lot of time. Obviously kept a clean sheet, looked all right when he was on. You can't really comment on Dillick. He didn't have too much to do while he was on the pitch. The one thing I do want to comment on is about a lot of people talking about we'll play a high line with Dillick, and I don't want to go on about it, but the formation, the 4-2-4 formation where we're a 4, a 2 and a 4, obviously, we will always get caught in transition with 2 in midfield. So it is imperative that the front 4 know how to look after the ball. And I think people are slating Mount and Ahmad. I mean, not slating, but saying they didn't have great games. But what they do is they look after the ball without doing anything special. And we're never going to be able to play a high line. Everyone's like, when we get Dillick, we'll play a high line. Dillick and Martinez will play a high line. You can't play high line football without your front 4 keeping possession in the final third. It doesn't happen because as you move up as a defensive line, if the ball is straight back at you, you never get to the halfway line. You're running back all the time. It's imperative our front 4 learn to look after the ball, and Ahmad and Mount do that. And this is what I want to get onto with the substitutions and Eric Ten Hag mainly. And I know everyone is going to come at me here because Garnacho crossed it for the goal and Xerxes scored. The subs won us the game. My problem isn't bringing Xerxes and Garnacho on. My problem is who he took off. Rashford should have come off for Garnacho. And I don't even think Rashford had an horrendous game. I thought he was just average. The real problem I have with Rashford is for someone who's so quick and apparently so skillful, why can't he take anyone on? Every single time he gets the ball, he runs into a defender and loses the ball. He can't take people on. I just don't get it. It's bizarre. He don't even knock it round him and chase the ball and beat him for pace, let alone beat him for skill. He must have run into his defender 6, 7, 8 times. Even the one where Mount should have scored, he wasn't trying to pass to Mount. he was trying to take the defender on and lost the ball, and it ended up with Mount taking a shot. But I'm not going to dwell on Rashford. I thought he was okay today. His attitude was better. His work rate was better. It's just the quality is not there. And people will talk about he's not match fit, his attitude, this, that, and the other. I don't think there was anything particularly wrong with his attitude today. I just don't think he's good enough. And that's what I've been saying for a long time about him. But again, on the subs, we went from, I wouldn't say dominating the game with Ahmad and Mount on the pitch in the first half and half the second half, but we kept the ball much better. We took Mount off for Gar, and Bruno ended up in the central midfield, Xerxes up front, Ahmad off, Garnacho on the right. And I like Garnacho, but he's not a player to keep possession. He's like another Rashford who gets the ball, runs at people, tries to make something happen. The difference is Garnacho can actually do it. So I've got no problem with Garnacho coming on. It's who he come on for. And the same with Mount coming off for Xerxes and putting Bruno back into midfield. We went from a front four with Bruno, who, you know, he's out the way in a false nine, and while he's losing the ball, it don't matter so much up there. Then you've got Rashford, who's a so-called flair player who tries to take people on. Okay, he loses the ball, whatever. He's a risk taker. Then you've had Mount and Ahmad who look after the ball. We took both of them off, went to Garnacho, Bruno back in, and Xerxes. As soon as we took them two off and Bruno went back into midfield, what happened to our midfield? It was wide open again, because Bruno plays in midfield like he is a false nine. He doesn't do any defensive work, and people say he runs around a lot. He does defend. Running around and getting back isn't defending. Look what Mount did for that booking in the first half. He chased back and legged him up on the halfway line and took a booking for it. Bruno doesn't do that. Bruno would just run back either with the player, or he'd run back away from the player. So he looks like he's running back, but he's not affecting the game. And again, we went from the 70th minute when them substitutions happened back to last season football, where it is literally end-to-end basketball football, and Ten Hag is hoping that one of them get a goal and bail him out of losing. In that 30 minutes there, I think Fulham, they had that, the one where Maguire got his heel on it. He shouldn't have got anywhere near that, and it wouldn't have been Maguire's fault. He was left 2 or 3 on 1, and it was an horrendous pass from Andreas. And I think they had 2 or 3 other scenarios where they were like 4 on 2, and they should have done better. The reality is Fulham aren't a great side. If that's another side with a bit more quality and a bit more pace, we are in as much trouble as we were in last year. And I don't want to be negative about us winning the first game, but the reality of it is, against Brighton, we could get torn apart because they've got quality where they wouldn't misplace those passes. And against Liverpool, they won't misplace those passes. But what I'm saying is, and this is the fact of the matter is, in our last 5 competitive games, so the last 3 Premier League games, the FA Cup final and this one, where has Bruno played? False 9. He's played in false 9, and what have we done in all 5 of them games? Won them. And I think it's a huge, huge, huge problem not many people will talk about that Ten Hag's got on his hands. We've got Højlund, he paid 70 million quid for, who he clearly loves and wants to play up front. We've now got Xerxes as a backup, who from today's 20 minutes, half an hour, looks like he can do a job for us. He's going to want to play one of them up front. What do you do with Bruno? Because evidence of the last 5 games of him playing up front, false 9, we've won them all. He goes into midfield for half an hour last night and we're wide open, basketball, football, losing the ball every 2 seconds. He's too high up the pitch. Back to, God, I hope we score and they don't football. Let me know what you think about that, because I think it's a real concern. And people say Bruno got to play AMF. He's got to play in the midfield. He's way better as a 10. I completely disagree. Yes, he might be a good 10 in a team that never lose the ball and he stand on the edge of the area and he's creating stuff. But in our team, where we are backwards and forwards, losing possession all the time, he cannot play in a central midfield 3 for me. It's a huge decision Ten Hag's got. Can he keep playing Mount at 10 and potentially put Bruno on the right? But then what do you do with Ahmad, Garnacho, Rashford? He's got some huge decisions to make, Ten Hag, and I think his substitutions, the players he brought on, were the right ones. The players he took off were the wrong ones. And just on Mainu, I think Mainu was all right first half. I think he ran out of legs. Second half, he's either not match fit or he's still suffering from the Euros. I don't know, but he didn't look like he could last a full 90. And yeah, I mean, that is a lot of what I've got to talk about, where I think we need to learn as a team. And I think everyone's under this opinion. What is he going to do with certain players when everyone's back? And my front 4 would probably be Ahmad, Mount, Garnacho on the left, and Xerxes or Højlund up front. I mean, I need to see more of Xerxes. But if you've ever watched my channel before, you'll know I'm not the biggest Bruno fan. Bruno would not play in a central midfield 3 for me. Will Erik Ten Hag continue with Bruno at false 9 when Højlund and Xerxes are back if we're still winning games? There's a question for you. Or will he put him back into midfield and hope that it works? Because to me, I just don't think it can. What else have I got wrote down here? And I don't want to make it a massive Bruno headache show like I do all the time. But after Ahmad went off, he was on set pieces, on corners. He must have taken 5 or 6 corners that didn't get past the front post. Horrendous. How Bruno Fernandes still takes our free kicks and corners is beyond me. They are absolutely dreadful. The only set piece Bruno should be on is penalties. Free kicks, corners are... It's like he can't kick a ball properly from a set piece. It's bizarre. But that's it with Bruno now. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. Tell me in the comments, what do you think Ten Hag's going to do with him when Højlund and Xerxes are both ready? Does he get back into your central midfield 3 or not? Because for me, he doesn't. I've spoke briefly about Rashford. I think he played okay. I have major issues about his quality. And I've always had more issues about his quality than his attitude. His attitude stunk last year. I talked about it loads. He's never been a top player. And he's got the profile of one. That's his biggest problem. If he was another Ahmad, we bought him for 30 or 40 million and he's doing bits, you'd think fine. But he's been brought up as the poster boy of the club on huge money, held in such high regard as the biggest talent at the club. The reality of it is he can't get in an England side under Gareth Southgate. He's inconsistent. He can't take anyone on. And literally, if he's not playing in a team where the other team play a high line and he can run in behind and just welly the ball at the goal, he does absolutely nothing for the team. And that is the truth of it. And it's nothing against Rashford. I just don't think he suits playing for a team like Man United. If he played for Leicester when they won the league, he'd have been Jamie Vardy. Probably if he plays for a team like, I don't know, Villa or West Ham, who play a bit deeper, or not Villa, but West Ham, A bit like for Bowen and that lot do for West Ham. They soak up the pressure, they counter quickly, they're in behind teams. Rashford would be brilliant. But for us, where we tend to press the other team back and they'll sit back, he cannot play like that. And neither can Bruno. Them two together suit a counter-attack side, which we are trying not to be. We're trying to be a high-press team, which is clear from last night. A front four are pressing. Even Mainu is coming right out of midfield and right into the press. We're trying to win the ball back high. Yes, we might get beaten through the middle sometimes and be wide open, but forget that for the second. If we do get this press right and start winning the ball back on the edge of the 18-yard box all the time, Rashford and Bruno are not effective because they don't look after the ball. The pop shot, the waste it, I don't know, I'm going to talk about Bruno, but that outside of the boot finish he tried in the first half was a disgrace. Shocking. He's got to take that with his left foot and he just bend it into the bottom corner. The goal is wide open. And people say he's right-footed. I'll tell to them same people, you're calling him our so-called mega creative number 10. The best player we've got, the best player we've had for ages, and you tell me he can't use his left foot to pass it in the bottom corner. And he's trying a stupid outside of the foot finish. The second one, I'll let him off. Half-decent save. And everyone's saying Mount should have scored. Mount, I think he got in front of his man, got a contact on it, and Leno made a decent save. But all in all, I'm not going to go on for too much longer. We have won the game. We did create 2 or 3 decent chances. We kept Fulham out. And we will go into a couple more difficult games now against Brighton and Liverpool and see where we really are. Just quickly, the end of the video, I want to talk about Martinez and a couple of worries I have with Martinez, but also a couple of things that I think are great about him as well. Martinez today is probably not match fit. Give him the benefit of doubt on that. He's not played a lot of football. He's been out injured for a lot of the time. Number one priority is he's got to stay fit. So we'll see how that goes on. 2, he got bullied again by Adama Traore. And yes, I know people say everyone gets bullied by Adama Traore. And you're probably right, to be fair. But it's not the first time. I just wanted to mention, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last video, where he got spun like he was stood still by Oscar Bob for City's goal in the Charity Shield. If Maguire had have been spun like Martinez was in the Charity Shield, we'd never hear the end of how crap Maguire is. Martinez got done like he was not even there for that goal. He's been put on his arse by Salah, Ivan Toney twice against Brentford in both games, just bullied him like he was a kid. And it's the concern that I've got. And people are saying last night, Carragher this, he's as big as Carragher and all that lot. And it don't matter. He is small for a centre-back. You can't get over that fact. Yes, he's aggressive. Yes, he likes to tackle. Yes, he likes to put himself about. But I'm afraid when he comes up against someone who's just physically stronger than him, it doesn't work. And there was another instance today where he flew out into midfield, missed a tackle, left Maguire completely on his own in a 2 or 3 versus 1 situation. It's poor defending. And everyone says about Martinez being amazing on the ball, coming out with the ball and all this. I didn't see a lot of that today against a Fulham team that don't really press. We were still going long ball a lot most of the time. I mean, where is it? You know, the picking the ball up from Onana, playing out from the back now. He's back. I didn't see a lot of it. I don't want to be overcritical of Martinez because what he did actually say in the Jamie Carragher interview was really good about him learning from his mistakes and what he did with Traore and then learning for the next time it happened and everything. And I'm not saying Martinez is crap, but I do have a question mark, one, on his fitness, and two, is he a top centre-back? Will he win us leagues with his... I don't think he's physical enough. And I hate to say it because I don't want to be one of them people, but on the evidence we've seen so far, when he comes up against top, strong strikers and wingers, he gets bullied too much, because I think he tries to get too involved in a physical battle with people who are physically stronger than him, and he comes out on the wrong side of it. He needs to probably learn to use his defensive football skills more than his physical side against that type of player. But that's all I'm going to say on Martinez. Tell me what you think. You probably all will disagree, as per usual. And I think that's probably all I've got to go over. I mean, I don't want this to be a negative video. We've won. It's just constructive criticism I'm trying to give out here. The way I think the team's set up, the way I'm worried about when we get a striker back and Bruno goes into midfield. I think Martinez will be fine, by the way. I'm just saying there are a couple of concerns I've got. I would be starting him with De Ligt, and I wouldn't be dropping him or out stupid like that. They're just a couple of things that I think, if we're going to go to the very top where we want to go, will Martinez still be there? But as of now, that's probably been overcritical. He's fine. I'm not criticising Martinez. Just a couple of concerns that I've got with him since he's been back and since he's played for us. Midfield is still a concern playing the... And I don't think it's the players in there. I don't think it's Mainu. I don't think it's Casemiro. I don't think it's McTominay. I think the formation being a 4-2-4, it doesn't matter who is in that midfield, that will happen. If we get Ugarte, it will happen. If we had Prime Kante, it will happen. Because we have too many people in front of the ball when we're countered on. And when you've got 4 or 5 of the opposition running at you and you've only got 2 in midfield, you will always find yourself in a position where your centre midfield is like a donut. That is Erik ten Hag's style, if we want to call it style. And at this point, yes, I don't think we do have a play style, as in look after the ball possession, but I think Erik ten Hag clearly will die on his sword of trying to get as many people forward as he can and leaving a hole in midfield and hoping that we come out on the right end of scoring a few goals. I think Ten Hag's probably wants to play a brand of football where we win 4-2. Which some people might say, yeah, it's entertaining, but until we start scoring goals, we can't concede. And at the minute, we don't score enough goals to take that many risks, in my opinion. But it's just a quick review for this morning. 25-minute video. Hit the like, favourite, and subscribe. If you're here for the first time, tell me in the comments what you think of my opinions, because I know sometimes people do not agree with them. But that's what we're here to talk about, innit? So, yeah, do me a favour, like, favour, and sub if you've got this far. Hit me up on the next one. And I will be back next time something major happens. I'm not one of these channels who's here every 5 minutes. I talk about games, I talk about major things, or things that are on my mind with United. So hit me up. Peace.